But let's start with, you have a y-intercept of 7 and you have a slope of 1/2. Now, what letter do we usually associate with y-intercept? B. B is 7. What letter do we usually? M. Which is 1/2. Now, is there a linear equation that has a b and an m in it? Y equals mx plus b. Which is, what's the name of this? Yep, slope intercept. Alright, so now you have enough information because the y always stays the same, the x always stays the same. We need numbers for m and we need a number for b. So y equals 1/2 x plus 7. Alright, so first one, not too bad. When you get a y-intercept and a slope, you're happy because that's a very, very easy problem to do. Now, let's take first off, questions on part A. That one you should knock out of the park. Part B is another one that you should knock out of the park. Now, you have a point, you have a slope. So what equation are we going to use?
Y minus y1 equals point slope.
No, point slope, you're right. Y minus y1 is equal to... Yeah. M times the quantity of x minus x1. Now, if we're just going to put this in to the line itself, we'll take y minus, and then we'll take the -4, put that in there, is equal to the slope 2 times x minus 1. And then we'd have to go one step further and say it's y plus 4 is equal to 2 times x minus 1. Now, this is actually an acceptable answer because it is the equation of the line. But a lot of times you'll be asked, and the reason why you're asked for this is because this isn't going to tell us the next part of information. Because the next part of the information is, are these lines perpendicular? Are they parallel? Do they coincide? Or do they just intersect with nothing special happening? And you can't really tell that from this equation. So, to go to, what we need to do is actually make it into point slope or slope-intercept form. On the left-hand side, you're still going to get y plus 4. But in the first case, the first step is always the same. What are we going to do with that 2? Distribute. So the first step is always the same. You distribute. So it's 2x. What's 2 times -1? -2. Now the second step is always the same. I need to move that 4 from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. So I'm going to say -4 is equal to -4. So I can use my properties the proper way. Add the two equations together. Y plus 4 minus 4, that's just y. And that's 2x minus 6. So this is a correct answer. I'll be honest. That is a correct answer. Actually, that one isn't. This one is. The one below it. Because you don't want to have minus a negative because that means that there's operations to do. That one actually is the correct one because there are no more operations that we can do. We can distribute it if we're going to transform this to slope-intercept form. Now, from here, I know a point. I know a point is 1, -4, and I know the slope, so I can actually graph it from this equation. Because you see, there's a point in there, and there's a slope in there. So we can actually go for it from there. But when we start talking about parallel lines, and we start talking about perpendicular lines, then we start having our issues. questions on this one? All right, now, the next part, I have 2 points. So I have 2 points. What am I missing? You're missing the most important characteristic of it. You're missing a slope. So the first thing we have to do, use the slope equation, which is m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I'm just going to go 11 minus a negative 3. And then you got the thing about slope, which is different about the distance formula. When we were doing the distance formula, it didn't really matter if I used this guy first or that guy first, because we were squaring the numbers. So if it ended up being negative, it would just square it to positive, and if it was positive, we'd square it and it'd be positive. When you're dealing with slope, you have to be consistent. If I use this guy first, if this was the first one that I used, I got to use this guy first for my x's. So I have to use 7 minus 2. So 11 minus the negative 3 is really 11 plus 3, which is 14 over 5. Kind of ugly slope. But now, to use the point slope equation. So we're going to use the point slope equation here. So which point do you want to use? 711. All right, let's use 711. So I need y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. So y minus, what's my y value? 11. So y minus 11 is equal to 14 over 5.
Wouldn't you have to use 2 negative 3 since it's x, so y1 and x2?
It doesn't matter. When you get to this point, I understand why you're saying that, because we used that point for x1 and y1 the first time. But when we get to this, it doesn't matter because every point's on the line. So every point should give us the same line. But that's a good question. That's a very good question. All right, so now I have x minus 7. All right, so we have x minus 7. What's the next step? Distribute. Y minus 11 is equal to 14 fifths x minus, what's 7 times 14? What's 7 times 4? 28, carry the 2, so that's 98 over 5. Now, without using a calculator here, because we don't need a calculator because these numbers aren't that big, I need to take 11 times something that's going to make this over 5. Because when I add 11 to both sides, I'm going to have to add it to something that's in fifths. So I'm going to have to convert it to fifths. What do I multiply 11 by to convert it to fifths? Well, I need to multiply the denominator because there's really a 1 down there. 1 times 5 is 5. So what am I going to multiply the numerator by in order to make sure that I'm not changing the value of 11 at all? 5. So I get 11 times 5, which is 55. So this is really y minus 55 over 5 is equal to 14 fifths x minus 98 over 5. Now, I'm going to add 55 over 5. So, basically, when you have a big negative number and a small negative, or a small positive, subtract them. That'd be 43, and then I'm going to slap the negative sign on it. So I get negative 43 fifths. And that was kind of as ugly as it's going to get ever. But, hey, you guys are in big boy and girl math now. So you guys got to be able to handle fractions. You need to be able to handle these numbers because the world is built on fractions and decimals. And not everything that's totally nice and neat and organized for you.